Beloved, hear me today. When the enemy rises up with schemes, traps, and shadows, God rises higher. When darkness whispers your name, grace speaks louder. And when evil plans are formed behind your back, heaven forms a shield in front of you. You are not walking through this world uncovered. You are not stepping through life unguarded. There is a divine hedge around you, a supernatural wall that no weapon can penetrate. Today, we step boldly into prayer, not with fear, but with faith, not with trembling, but with triumph. Because the God who watches over you does not sleep, does not slumber, and does not lose battles. Every plot formed against you must bow to his presence. Every assignment sent to destroy your peace must shatter under his power. Every unseen attack must crumble under his authority. So lift your heart as we pray. Lord, surround me with your mighty protection. Cover my mind from lies, my heart from discouragement, my home from destruction, and my path from every hidden danger. Let no evil plan succeed. Let every tongue that rises against me be silenced. Let every trap be exposed, every scheme be reversed, and every attack be rendered powerless by your grace. Place your angels around me, place your peace within me, and let your favor go before me like a shield. Amen. Now listen, God's protection is not passive. It is active, present, relentless. His grace is not thin, it is thick. His covering is not weak, it is mighty. You may feel surrounded by troubles, but you are actually surrounded by him. You may hear the noise of the storm, but he sits enthroned above the storm. You may see the enemy try to rise, but God is already standing. When evil tries to intimidate you, remember, grace stands guard. When darkness tries to enter, remember, light has authority. When fear tries to settle in, remember, you are covered. So walk today with a lifted head and a guarded spirit. No threat can break you. No attack can overwhelm you. No plan formed against you will stand, not when God has already placed his hand on your life. Now go forward with courage. Stand firm with confidence. Pray with authority. Walk with power. Because you are not just protected, you are covered by God's grace. Step into this day with boldness and declare, I am shielded. I am guarded. I am safe in God's hands. The protection of God is not a light covering, not a thin blanket of comfort you simply hope will hold. It is a fortified shield, a supernatural defense, an unbreakable wall built by the hands of the Almighty himself. When we say God's protection is stronger than any evil plan, we're declaring a truth that shakes the foundation of darkness. We're announcing to every force that tries to rise against us that its power has an expiration date and its influence is limited. No scheme formed in shadows can overpower the one who created light. No attack plotted in secret can overthrow the God who sees all things. And no plan designed to harm you can stand firm when God has already determined victory in your favor. Evil plans don't always come in obvious forms. Sometimes they come as discouraging words spoken by others. Sometimes they come through betrayal, disappointment, unexpected obstacles, or spiritual heaviness. Sometimes they come through inner battles, fear, insecurity, doubt, trying to sabotage your confidence and derail your purpose. But regardless of the form, the outcome remains the same. God's protection prevails. Before an attack even reaches your life, God has intercepted it. Before a plot is formed, he already has a counterplan. Before the enemy whispers a threat, God has spoken a promise that carries more weight, more authority, and more power than anything darkness can produce. You may not see the protection, but you experience the results of it every day. There were traps that never touched you because God blocked them. There were attacks that never formed because God dissolved them. There were dangers that passed by unnoticed because God stood between you and what was meant to destroy you. If God were to show you every battle he fought on your behalf, you would fall to your knees in awe. The spiritual realm is full of wars you never had to fight because heaven fought for you. This is why you should stand tall, even when life feels uncertain. This is why you should walk in confidence, even when circumstances try to intimidate you. This is why you should breathe peacefully, even when others are panicking. You are not living unguarded. You are living protected. God's protection is not weak, passive, or hesitant. It is strong, intentional, and unstoppable. It goes before you to prepare the path. It walks beside you to steady your steps, and it surrounds you to shield your purpose. Evil plans rely on fear, but divine protection produces faith. And faith is what lifts your eyes above the threat and fixes them on the one who never loses. People may speak against you, but their words cannot overpower God's will for your life. Situations may shift, but nothing can shift you out of his hand. The enemy may try to intimidate you, but he cannot invade the place where God has positioned you. You are sitting under the covering of the Almighty, and nothing, no attack, no lie, no scheme, no spiritual force has the authority to break through that covering. The protection of God does not just shield you, it strengthens you. It gives you endurance. It gives you clarity. It reminds you that you are not a victim of any evil plan, but a victor walking under divine shelter. You are never walking through life uncovered, even on the days when it feels like your strength is drained, your mind is tired, and your heart is overwhelmed. There is a divine covering over you that operates beyond your feelings, beyond your circumstances, and beyond your understanding. God does not wait for you to feel strong before he protects you. He covers you even when you feel weak. He does not wait for you to have everything figured out before he surrounds your steps. His presence is already assigned to you. You may not always recognize it, but you are wrapped in a shelter that cannot be shaken, guarded by a presence that cannot be pushed back, and watched over by a God who never abandons his post. There are moments when life becomes so loud, so heavy, or so confusing that you begin to wonder if anyone sees what you're going through. You question whether God notices your battles, your tears, or your quiet struggles. But even in the moments when you feel the most invisible, heaven is fully aware of you. God is not a distant observer. He is an active protector. He is not standing far off waiting for you to call. He is near, attentive, and deeply involved in every step you take. You may feel alone, but you are never unprotected. His presence is not seasonal, it's constant. His covering is not fragile, it's fortified. Every time you step out of your home, his shield goes ahead of you. Every time you rest at night, his angels stand guard around you. Every time your heart becomes troubled, his peace acts as a barrier against the enemy's attempts to invade your mind. You are never exposed to the full weight of what was meant to harm you because God filters what reaches your life. He allows what will shape you, and he blocks what will destroy you. That's not weakness. That's divine strategy. That's not coincidence. That's spiritual protection in action. There are dangers you will never know about because God stopped them before they reach your reign. There are accidents that never happened, conversations that never occurred, people who never gained access to your life, and situations that never unfolded because God said, not this one, not today. If you only knew how many times God stepped in between you and harm, you would understand that his covering has been your lifeline all along. The enemy hoped you would fall, but God stood in the gap. The enemy hoped you would lose courage, but God whispered strength into your spirit. The enemy hoped you would break, but God reinforced you with his grace. You are constantly surrounded, not by fear, not by defeat, not by darkness, but by divine presence. This covering is not something you have to earn. It is something God gives out of his love for you. It's already in place before you open your eyes in the morning. It remains steady while you face challenges. It remains firm while you process pain. And it remains strong while you walk through uncertainties. You are covered by a force that cannot be outsmarted, outmaneuvered, or overcome. Even in the hardest seasons, even when you feel drained or unsure, the covering of God does not weaken. It does not flicker. It does not fade. So when you feel alone, remind yourself what you feel is not the full truth. You have a God who marks you, shields you, surrounds you, and walks with you in every moment. You are protected in ways you can't see, guarded in ways you can't comprehend, and strengthened in ways you may not even recognize. Yet, what the enemy designs for harm, God turns for victory. This truth is not just a comforting phrase. It is the pattern of God's power working throughout your life. There is nothing the enemy can orchestrate, construct, or attempt that God cannot flip, transform, and use as a stepping stone towards something greater. Even when evil intentions rise up against you, even when situations seem unfair, and even when circumstances look designed to break you, God is already working behind the scenes to reverse the impact. His sovereignty is not shaken by attacks. His purpose is not disrupted by schemes. What the enemy meant to weaken you becomes the very thing God uses to strengthen you. When you face opposition, it can be tempting to see only the harm in front of you, the betrayal, the disappointment, the setback, the loss, the unexpected turn. But while the enemy works in the shadows, God works in the open, bringing clarity, transformation, and redemption. You may not understand the season while you're standing in it, but God is crafting victory in places that once looked like defeat. The enemy's intention is always destruction. He aims to discourage your spirit, interfere with your purpose, and drain your hope. But God takes those same circumstances and molds them into building blocks for your destiny. Think about the moments you thought would break you, those seasons of trial, pain, or confusion that felt overwhelming at the time. They became testimonies. They became turning points. They became evidence of God's ability to take what was designed to knock you down and instead lift you up. The enemy wanted those moments to be your ending, but God turned them into beginnings. What felt like loss became preparation. What felt like a setback became positioning. What felt like the enemy's victory became God's stage to show you his power. God does not allow harm to touch your life without having a greater purpose lined up behind it. If he permitted it, then he plans to use it. The enemy may have intended it for evil, but God always rewrites the outcome. Even the delays you didn't want, the detours you didn't expect, and the disappointments you didn't understand are being woven into something meaningful. God specializes in divine reversals. He interrupts the enemy's plow, transforms the enemy's strategies, and flips the enemy's intentions until they cannot serve the purpose they were created for. Sometimes the very attack the enemy sends becomes the doorway to a blessing. Sometimes the people who walked away made space for those God intended to bring into your life. Sometimes the job you lost made room for the assignment God wanted you to step into. Sometimes the tear you cried watered the ground for the harvest God was preparing. What the enemy thought would weaken your faith became the moment your faith grew stronger, deeper, and more unshakable. What was meant to intimidate you ended up revealing how much authority God placed inside you. There is not a single moment of your life where God is surprised by the enemy's attempts. He sees the end before the beginning. He knows how to protect you, refine you, and elevate you even in the middle of an attack. And while the enemy works with limited power, limited vision, and limited authority, God works with unlimited strength, unlimited wisdom, and unlimited control. Nothing the enemy forms can override what God transforms. Every attempt to bring you down becomes an opportunity for God to raise you up. Every plan meant to harm you becomes fuel for the purpose God placed inside you. Every battle you face becomes proof that God is turning the story in your favor. Fear cannot stand where faith is active, because faith is not just a belief. It is a force, a shield, a spiritual anchor that refuses to bow to the intimidation of the enemy. Fear thrives in uncertainty, but faith thrives in truth. Fear grows in darkness, but faith shines in light. Fear whispers weakness, but faith speaks strength. Whenever fear rises to shake you, faith rises to steady you. Fear may knock on the door of your mind, but faith has the authority to lock it out. This is why your faith must stay active, alive, and gauged. Faith isn't something you visit occasionally. It's something you carry daily as your defense, your weapon, and your confidence. There are moments when fear tries to creep into your thoughts. Fear of the future, fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of what could go wrong, fear of what might happen next. These fears come quietly, sometimes suddenly, sometimes softly, sometimes forcefully. They try to enter your spirit and shrink your courage. But faith is a reminder that you are not fighting battles alone. Faith says God is here. Faith says God is able. Faith says God is greater than what I'm facing. And when faith speaks, fear loses its grip. Fear cannot dominate a mind that is anchored in God's promises. Faith shifts your focus from what threatens you to the one who protects you. It lifts your eyes from the storm to the Savior. It reminds you that the same God who carried you through past battles is the same God carrying you now. Fear wants you to forget what God has already done, but faith urges you to remember every door he opened, every danger he blocked, every prayer he answered, every moment he sustained you. Fear tries to magnify the problem, but faith magnifies God. And when God becomes the biggest thing in your vision, fear becomes the smallest thing in your life. Your faith is not measured by how loudly you speak it, but by how strongly you stand on it. Faith is not always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, steady, and unshakable. It's the whisper in your soul that says, I trust God, even when everything around you feels uncertain. It's the inner strength that rises when your emotions feel weak. It's the courage to keep moving when fear tells you to stop. Fear limits. Faith frees. Fear paralyzes. Faith propels. Fear tries to lock you in a room of doubt, but faith opens the door to possibility. There will be times when fear tries to dress itself as wisdom or caution or logic, but you must learn to discern its voice. God does not lead you through fear. He leads you through faith. Fear disrupts your peace. Faith restores it. Fear clouds your judgment. Faith brings clarity. Fear tries to choke your hope. Faith breathes life back into it. When your faith becomes active through prayer, through declaration, through remembrance, fear cannot withstand the atmosphere it creates. Faith changes the environment of your mind and shifts the atmosphere of your heart. Every challenge you face is another opportunity for your faith to grow. Every obstacle is another reminder that God is bigger. Every threat is another chance for you to declare his promises. Faith doesn't mean you won't feel fear. It means fear won't control you. It won't guide you. It won't own you. When your faith is alive, fear becomes powerless. Fear may roar, but it cannot devour. Fear may rise, but it cannot remain. Fear may attempt, but it cannot triumph. Faith gives you spiritual posture, spiritual power, and spiritual resilience that fear can never break. God's grace is your daily covering, not a momentary comfort that appears only in crisis, but a continual shield that surrounds every part of your life. Grace is not thin, fragile, or temporary. It is strong, enduring, and deeply rooted in the love and power of God. This covering is not something you must beg for. It's already there the moment you open your eyes each morning. Grace goes before you, walks with you, and follows after you. It stands as a barrier between you and what the enemy hoped would reach you. It is God's way of saying, you are mine, and nothing touches you without passing through my hands first. Grace doesn't simply forgive, it protects. It guards your heart from bitterness, your mind from fear, your spirit from discouragement, and your path from destruction. It surrounds you like a cloak, settling over your life in ways you can't always see, but can always feel. Many times you've been sustained, not because you were strong, but because grace was strong for you. Many times you remained standing, not because life was easy, but because grace held you together when everything else tried to pull you apart. Grace keeps you steady when your circumstances shake. Grace lifts you when worry tries to press you down. Grace keeps your soul anchored when the storms of life try to toss you around. God's grace is not limited by your mistakes, nor is it weakened by your weaknesses. It is not withdrawn because of your imperfections. Grace shows up precisely when you feel you deserve it the least. It covers your shortcomings, strengthens your spirit, and reminds you that God's love for you is not conditional. This daily covering ensures that what could have broken you ends up building you. What could have drained you ends up teaching you. What could have defeated you ends up preparing you. Grace transforms harm into growth and struggle into testimony. Every single day you walk into situations where grace goes ahead of you, clearing obstacles you never saw, shutting doors that would have led you into harm, and opening paths that align with your purpose. It's not just spiritual protection, it's divine coordination. Grace doesn't simply guard you, it guides you. It shifts you away from danger, aligns you with favor, and positions you exactly where you need to be, even when you don't understand why. You are never navigating life alone. You are always moving under the influence of God's intentional, powerful grace. There are countless moments in your life where grace stepped in quietly. It softened the blow of what was meant to break you. It calmed the storm you didn't have the strength to face. It gave you peace when fear tried to overwhelm you. It gave you wisdom when confusion tried to cloud your decisions. Grace is God's constant whisper that tells you you are covered, you are supported, you are not fighting alone. Even in your hardest seasons, grace works overtime, carrying what you cannot carry, healing what you cannot fix, and strengthening what you cannot restore on your own. Sometimes you realize the power of grace only in hindsight, when you look back and see that you survived what should have crushed you, healed from what should have damaged you forever, and learned lessons you would have never discovered without walking through that storm. That is the evidence of grace at work. It is not loud or flashy, but it is steady, reliable, and victorious. Grace shields your destiny, protects your purpose, and ensures that no attack, no mistake, and no storm will ever have the final say over your life. You are called to walk boldly, not timidly, because God did not place you on this earth to shrink back, hide your light, or live beneath the strength he has already placed inside you. Boldness is not arrogance. It is confidence rooted in God's presence, God's purpose, and God's protection. When you walk boldly, you are not relying on your own power. You are relying on his. You are stepping forward with the assurance that heaven backs you, that God goes before you, and that his hand rests upon your life. Boldness is the fruit of knowing who you belong to and understanding that your steps have been ordered long before you took them. Life will always present moments that tempt you to shrink. Moments where fear whispers, where doubts speak loudly, where obstacles look too big, where pressure feels too heavy. But boldness refuses to bow to intimidate. It is the decision to move even when the path ahead is unclear, to trust even when the outcome is uncertain, and to stand firm even when you feel the weight of opposition. When God calls you to walk boldly, he is not asking you to be fearless. He is asking you to be faith-filled. Boldness is not the absence of fear. It is the refusal to let fear make your decisions. Every day you step into is an opportunity to demonstrate boldness. Boldness in your prayers, boldness in your character, boldness in your decisions, boldness in your expectations, boldness in your belief that God will do what he promised. Walking timidly suggests doubt. Doubt in yourself, doubt in your calling, doubt in the power of God working through you. But when you walk boldly, you are declaring to every challenge, every enemy, and every obstacle, I am not alone. I am not unprotected. I am not powerless. Boldness is a spiritual posture that aligns your attitude with the truth that God has equipped you for every battle, every season, and every assignment. There are dreams inside you that require bold steps. There are breakthroughs waiting on the other side of bold moves. There are blessings positioned where only boldness can take you. When you choose to walk boldly, you break free from the limitations of fear, insecurity, and past failures. You embrace the identity God designed for you, an identity marked by strength, authority, and purpose. The enemy wants you to walk intimidated because he knows that boldness activates destiny. Boldness opens doors, unlocks courage, and awakens confidence. When you stand tall spiritually, the enemy loses the ability to shrink your progress. Walking boldly does not mean life will always be easy. It means you will walk with courage even when life gets difficult. It means you will speak life even when negativity surrounds you. It means you will trust God even when you cannot see the full picture. Boldness pushes you into places your timid self would have avoided. It allows you to step into opportunities you once felt unworthy of. It empowers you to face opposition with peace and confront challenges with confidence. When God calls you to walk boldly, he also equips you with the strength, wisdom, and clarity needed for the journey. There are battles you will win simply because you chose to stand instead of retreat. There are breakthroughs you will experience because you dared to believe instead of doubting. Boldness positions you for victory and aligns you with heaven's agenda. It changes the way you speak, think, and carry yourself. You begin to see yourself as God sees you. Capable, strong, protected, and chosen. Walking timidly closes doors that boldness would open, but walking boldly invites the fullness of God's purpose into your life.